A lot of people are unhappy with the coverage that Jake Lucky and that other guy, Hunter, I think from The Guard or whatever, are doing on esports. This is by some guy who is a journalist, and we'll read what they say about Jake Lucky and also Hunter Grooms, and we'll take a look at it. At the center of covering Twitch's biggest story in recent memory, though, there are two pseudo-journalists. Jake Lucky and Hunter Grooms, formerly employees of gaming news channel Esports Talk, among the most influential reporters on gaming and creator beat, although they do not describe themselves that way. Lucky has been live tweeting developments of the Ross scandal. Jake Lucky tweets shit out all the time, absolutely. On Monday, Twitter suspended Noah Ross's account, which Grooms passionately reported proved impersonation before backtracking on questions. To put it simply, the coverage of Lucky and Grooms on the Ross situation has been abysmal. Many of my colleagues in the gaming reporting space tilt at Lucky. I'd speculate partly from envy, given his profile and the incomparable access he has to some of the high-profile creators in a budding creator economy. There are critiques, though, and those are valid. Lucky and Grooms frequently hip-fire reports on Twitter haphazardly, from posting the web address from only slightly obscuring deepfake porn of some of the female influencers they cover, to calling out other credible reporters on their investigative stories about people they seemingly have a business relationship with. So basically, these guys are getting shit on because they are covering situations that other reporters disagree with and the way that they cover them in. That is fundamentally what this is. And I'll read this exactly. But here's the problem. Lucky is now hosting an interview with Adin Ross on Adin Ross's channel. Rather than holding Adin Ross accountable on his own platform, Lucky is going to Ross and letting Ross dictate the conversation and what got him in trouble in the first place. Damn. I will read the last couple of paragraphs. I do think that this article has a point, but the problem is that, well, let me actually finish this, okay? And then I'll talk about it. Lucky and Grooms' perceived relevance comes from Twitter, where combined the two have more than 415,000 followers. Lucky is the bulk of that number. Lucky has become a hit on LinkedIn, too, the platform pervasively known for grifters who move trend to trend with no real insight or grasp on the industries they claim to be experts on. LinkedIn is a perfect place for Lucky, whose primary content is reposting clips or descriptions from Reddit and the dozens of people who send him random news. Lucky and Grooms' content is not relevant, helpful, or meaningful to the larger growing audience, though. The gamers and creators, superfans who consume the original content in the hundreds of millions and are the core demographic for desired media advertising. That audience already consumes clips, the clips Lucky and Grooms are sharing from the source, be it on Twitch or YouTube or the reposts on Reddit. Instead, the audience wants to hear commentary, analysis on what's commonly known in journalism as second-day story. Content creators like Ludwig Algren, Hassan Piker, Charlie, Devin Nash, Atriok, before the aforementioned despicable porn scam, offer precisely that. And most of the time, their analysis is educated and on the money. That reaps the group of hundreds of millions of viewers on YouTube versus Lucky's just a few thousand. Lucky's brand of journalism, although he avoids the word intentionally, therefore doesn't generate significant revenue. The Twitter and LinkedIn numbers look nice, but you bet your ass NRG's CEO is bragging about them while the Guard and the rest of the esports industry is melting down in real time. But they do not matter. Revenue is important. Drama reporting on Twitter doesn't work. The truth is that there have been so many people who have been journalists who have used their platform to spread a message or to have some sort of agenda that you are not going to find anybody that will be sympathetic to real journalism on the internet anymore. That's just the truth. Whenever you have people like on Wired that are publishing a 1 out of 10 review for Hogwarts Legacy, and you see other people that are not fact-checking things properly and only bother to correct them later on after the story has run its traction, guess what? A lot of people are just simply not going to give a fuck anymore. And I think it's sad because I do think Jacob Wolf has a point here. I absolutely do think so. Is that whenever you have somebody out there who's just doing reporting and there's no accountability for it, and they occasionally get things wrong or do things irresponsibly, it can be very bad for people. But the truth is that I don't think a lot of other journalists, I'm not saying he's one of them, but a lot of other journalists have any room to talk. Because so many of these other journalist outlets are also using agendas. They're also trying to push a worldview. They're also trying to say these things are okay and these things are not. And the reason why people are upset about Jake Lucky and the other journalists are, I think the truth is, as always, it's very simple. It's because Jake Lucky and fucking that Hunter guy are very successful. Whether you like them or not, they have been successful with that. Agendas, you say? Yes, absolutely. A lot of people have agendas, and they want to portray something in a specific way, or they represent facts in a one-sided manner, or they do not represent the other side properly. There are a lot of ways that you can misconstrue things that are not explicitly lying. Y'all went to college and have the proper tools to do a not harmful job? Yes. I think the truth is that the internet and a lot of these types of things, people are starting to realize that they're the previous tools that people had for gatekeeping no longer exist anymore. So if somebody wants to do journalism and it's completely wrong, there's nothing you can do about that. And if people like watching it, then it's popular. And there's nothing you can do about that either. And that's all there is to it. So yeah, they just don't like Jake. I think that's a factor for sure. But all I'm saying is that I think that, you know, as much as actual journalists that do, I think that, like, you know, for example, Jason Schreier, like, I haven't read a lot of Jacob Wolf's stuff, so I'm not really sure. But I know Jason Schreier puts a lot of work into some of his larger, more expansive articles. Like, there's a lot of work that goes into this. It's not just like retweeting something or whatever. I can see where there could be some resentment for people that they feel like didn't go through the proper channels to do things in the way that's the most ethical or authentic, etc. But the problem is that there have been so many cases of journalists not acting ethically just recently and historically, especially like in the last 5 years, that nobody is going to care that a journalist is unethical because people consider all journalists unethical. That's what happens. Look at how he screwed IShowSpeed last year. Oh, I'd have to look and see. I think articles are also fighting for attention by being a little bit too clickbaity. Yeah. Corporate press. Yeah. And I think the truth is that things are becoming less corporate because they don't have the control over it anymore. Have you seen Fillion's new video on Ezra Miller? Not yet.
A trip, what needed, trip.